That one's live. That one's live. Okay, we're live on both. This phone here and that phone there. So if you see us not making eye contact with you guys, that's why. But you guys, Cecilia's back by popular request. You guys seem to really like her Q&A 2 weeks ago, talking about essential oils. I'll give you an intro really fast. I don't know which one to look at. So if I'm not making eye contact with one of you guys, it's because I'm looking at the other phone. We're doing the live in my Facebook group too. So Cecilia, this is my mom, Cecilia, and she is a real aromatherapist. And I say real because she has been trained at colleges and universities. She's actually done training. She's been doing it for 30 years. She does formulations. She's written books. She's written formulations for big companies. And so she's kind of the real deal.
And if I can just add to that, I'm basically a therapeutic aromatherapist, which there's a huge difference to just an aromatherapist and a therapeutic aromatherapist. An aromatherapist, anybody can call themselves an aromatherapist. You can work for a company, a multi-level marketing company, and do work with essential oils and call yourself an aromatherapist or whatever you want to. But a therapeutic aromatherapist has got qualifications behind them, and I'm not talking about just a weekend course or a company's certification. I'm talking about colleges, and I've attended colleges and universities, and so it's properly trained qualifications. There's a big difference.
So I've had a few of you guys send me questions to ask her. If you guys are watching here, feel free to shoot questions away too, and we'll try and get to them as much as possible. But some of the most popular questions are essential oils safe? Can you ingest essential oils? We'll answer all of those again.
Are they properly sourced?
Are they properly sourced? Like, how do we source our essential oils? Because Cecilia started Honestly Essential. So she started her own essential oil company.
30 years ago.
30 years ago, yes. So she's been sourcing oils since they were popular. Like, she was the original, like, hippie gangsta on, like, hippiness. So I remember going to school and she'd send me with, like, a bottle of tea tree and be like, if you ever get any cuts or scrapes, put tea tree on it. So talk about the company, you're sourcing, what's important about it, and we'll go from there.
All right. Basically, my sourcing...
And ask questions, guys, if you have any.
In the last 30 years have not changed. And I have one rule, and that is look for the best you can find. And I honestly spend hours and days and weeks if I'm looking for an oil, and I know where to look. After 30 years, I should know where to look. And I look for the best. The oils that I have are certified. Most of them are certified organic, and some of them are certified vegan. The main thing is they've gone through a certification, and that certification, the difference between the organic and the vegan is some people can afford to do organic because you do pay more, others can't, so they do the vegan, but they are still certified. They go through the testings, and if there is a drop, just a drop of impurity in there that shouldn't be there, they do not get the certification. So that tells me that they are good. There are a lot of companies out there that will say, oh, and especially MLM, that will say, oh, but organic's not important. Organic is, it is, because it is, it looks for adulteration. Adulteration in the essential oil world is huge, absolutely huge. And so they cannot adulterate and certify it.
So what I've seen in these industries is when you are like sourcing it yourself and you are not, and you happen to own the companies that are doing the certifications of analysis, there is a lot of wiggle room there. And so when you are actually held to a standard that is outside of your company and outside of your business dealings, then you are just held, like, and I'll be honest, like, I think organic certification can be really bogus, but it does hold you accountable to some kind of certification process.
Well,
and so
if I can just say something there, we walked the organic certification route, and it is strict. It is so
it's
strict.
really strict.
You actually have to, if you buy in bulk and you break that seal, you have to account literally for every drop. You have to account what you've done with that oil. How many were bottled for resale? How much was used in products? Every single drop, and I'm talking about it
Every
literally,
single drop,
has to be accounted for. It is so strict.
Yeah.
It's such a huge process.
It really
I've
is.
walked that road, and it's not an easy road.
So when we order ours as organic, we know that our suppliers
scrutinize.
our suppliers have to go through that same process too.
Yeah.
And so it's extremely tedious. And so it's nice to know that people that have handled it before we have, it's nice to know that they had to jump through those hoops as well.
Because you must remember, there's the grower, there's the distiller, and they're not always the same. Sometimes they are. But then there's the importer. And so everybody has to walk that line.
Well, and so another question, I think this is a good lead off, is are essential oils, or your essential oils, honestly essential, ethically sourced? So do you guys know why people are asking that question? Because it's actually very important, because essential oils literally have exploded and have really been put on the map in the past like 10 years, 10, 15 years. And with that has the demand increased, but it hasn't been sustainable. And so what's been happening is endangered species of certain plants and trees are actually being smuggled. And so they're being smuggled out of countries to be sold to the highest bidder. And not only that, like for instance, sandalwood is a very endangered species of, is it a tree? What is sandalwood? It's a tree.
It's the bark that comes from the bark of the tree.
So what people are having to do to make sure that they are ethically they're ethically sourced and sustained. What oil should I use to brush my teeth with? We'll talk about that. That's a great question. So to make sure that they are ethically sustained, or it's sustainable, is they will harvest X amount and then they will sell that. And then so you make bids for it. And then they do a sustainable amount of harvesting again, and then they make bids for it, versus just growing and cutting everything down and then selling it. So it's a slow process. It's slower. So now that the demand has increased because essential oils are so popular, that ethical process is being broken in a lot of the industry corners. And so with ours, we make sure that ours are ethically sourced where it has been going through the proper bidding process, and it hasn't been smuggled to another country to be bidded. There was actually a very scandalous thing that happened with one of these big companies where they were smuggling endangered species, and they did actually own up to it. And so I kind of respect that. But that's what that question was entailing, was ethical sources. What oils should I use to brush my teeth with and help my gums be strong? I'm going to grab.
So I'm going to.
I'll grab my sparkle.
All right. We're going to now start talking about questions that you have and answer them as to how you can use your oils and what you can do. You have to be careful because essential oils can be very abrasive. And once you lose...
You guys see that? This is what we brush our teeth with. This is the only thing we brush our teeth with. Sorry, I interrupted.
Once you lose the enamel on your teeth, there's nothing much that can replace it. the way you know you've lost enamel is if food sticks to your teeth. They're supposed to be slippery and shiny. Now, essential oils, if you use them just undiluted, they are way too abrasive. Don't ever do that. This is formulated. I have 3 different, as Jonique showed you. I have 3 different ones. I've got the cinnamon, mainly because people like the cinnamon taste. I've got the peppermint, and I have the spearmint. But this has been going around for more than 20 years. And people who have had gum problems, I've had 4 people in just the past couple of years that were going to lose all their teeth because of gum disease. And
well, also some people with certain chemotherapies, like they get a lot of mouth sores, and so this is what we recommend for them. Keep going, sorry.
Right, and so they actually never lost their teeth. This is formulated so that it won't damage the teeth, but it will do the job. It will do the job in cleaning the teeth and keeping the mouth fresh, the gums, prevent gum infection, treat gum infection. And the way that you do it, you only put 3 drops. You put 3 drops on a toothbrush. You don't wet the toothbrush first. You just put 3 drops on, and then you brush your teeth. Be careful of which plastic toothbrush you use, because there are some toothbrushes, and the one that I found, and I don't know if they've changed the plastic, was the Oral-B toothbrush.
They completely disintegrate.
Yeah,
that happened to like 5 of mine. Like my expensive electric toothbrushes, like the bristles completely disintegrated.
Right. Now the one that it doesn't do is, and I'm not here advertising anybody in particular, is the Philips. The Philips electric one that I have, and I've been through quite a few of those, but they don't do anything to the plastic. But if you have certain plastics, that may happen. But getting back to the oil, so it is formulated with the right amount of tea tree and clove. Clove also disinfects. This also stops throat infections. And it's so there's the cinnamon, there's
this peppermint
and the spearmint. And basically, once you've brushed your teeth, you put 3 drops, you brush your teeth, and then you just spit out. You don't rinse your mouth afterwards. You spit out. If you've eaten and you feel that you need to, there's particles. And like, for instance, blueberries, they always seem to hide somewhere in the mouth. You can always rinse your mouth first and get rid of whatever food particles there may be. Put 3 drops on, brush your teeth, and then just spit out. So it will keep your mouth fresh. And at night, when you brush your teeth and you wake up in the morning, you don't have that morning breath. A lot of people tell me, and including myself, I've had to do it many times, and I'm like, have I brushed my teeth this morning or haven't I? And I go to my toothbrush and I feel if it's wet or dry, because my mouth is still so fresh that that I don't. I'm not even sure whether I have or not. So there's some more questions coming up.
So let me go back here real fast. So do you put the oil on your gums? You actually put it on your toothbrush. So it's the clove, the peppermint, and the tea tree. That you want to make sure that it is mixed with some coconut oil. This is already formulated, so you don't even have to think about it. Yes, you can order these online if you go to Honestly Essential. Do we have all 3 flavors online?
We do.
We have all 3 flavors online. So the cinnamon, the spearmint, and the peppermint. So you can also rinse with it. So if you want to put like half a glass of water in your mouth and then like 3 drops and then rinse.
Yeah,
you can do that too.
A quarter cup of water with some 6 drops in there, and you can gargle with it and spit it out if you like. Let me tell you something very quickly what happened to us when we went to Cozumel. We went when it was the turn of the Mayans' calendar, when the Mayan calendar came to an end, and there were a lot of people. We were there like a day or 2 before the end of the Mayan calendar.
Keep on.
And we were in a tour group, and they stopped for us to have lunch. Well, I think
half of the people who were in Mexico at the time were eating at this place. And I'm always worried about picking up bugs and germs and things like that. And needless to say, we ended up with food poisoning. So that night when we got back to the hotel, and normally when I travel, I always travel with tea tree and lavender with me. And for some reason, when we went to Cozumel, I never took the lavender and the tea tree with me. The only thing I had with me was my peppermint sparkle. And so I took this and I just let it drop about 6 or 8 drops into my throat and swallowed it. And then about a half an hour later, it was about an hour later, I did another 6 or 8 drops. And that was it. The bug was gone. Our eldest son, Errol, my husband's eldest son, he didn't do anything, and he had to have the doctor come and give him an injection.
That's nice.
And I just put this down my throat, and I was great.
So I've been getting on and off mouth sores for many years, just like bleeding gums in certain areas every time I brush my teeth.
All right, so number one, I don't know your age or your health history. You've got to make certain everything is okay with your circulatory system. Bleeding gums can be connected to heart imbalances. I don't say problems and that there's a problem, but I say imbalances. So make certain, look at that situation. Then the other thing too is watch out for refined carbohydrates. If there's a lot of refined carbohydrates in your diet, the sugar can cause problems in your mouth. It can cause bacterial problems, etc. So look at your diet. And then the other thing too is just make sure that you floss like oral hygiene.
That might make it worse though, wouldn't it?
No, to get the fermented foods out, to get it out. And then make sure you use something good like this. And if you are scared to transition from toothpaste to just this is a toothpaste replacement, you can actually put your 3 drops on your toothpaste and brush, and then later then start using less toothpaste, and then eventually you only need 3 drops. I've had 2 dentists that I gave a bottle to and said, do me a favor, just try this and tell me what you think. And both of them, in similar language, came back to me and said, Cecilia, I can't recommend this to my clients because I will have no clients because they won't have any teeth problems.
There is a doctor, his name's Dr. White in American Fork with Utah Dental Pros. He recommends just brushing your teeth with essential oils. He's a biomimetic dentist. And so someone asked, do you suggest, so you don't suggest any toothpaste? You don't need toothpaste. Like, you don't need that foaming agent. You don't need, that can actually disrupt healthy bacteria. You don't need the chemicals.
Disclaimer, you're not a dentist.
We're not dentists. Disclaimer, we're not dentists. Just so you know, this is just what dentists have told us. Back to, I just have one thing about the mouth sores real fast. Let me just talk about that. Vitamin C deficiency. So if you're taking a lot of ascorbic acid, stop taking that because that's not actually true vitamin C. It's only a part of the vitamin C. So you are potentially exacerbating any kind of connective tissue disorders. So stop taking ascorbic acid and then take vitamin C, like whole food vitamin C. If your vitamin C looks like cocaine, it's processed, it's from corn, it's gone through multiple manufacturing steps. If your vitamin C looks a little bit brown or like a dull orange, it's most likely from food. And they will brag about it on the label. So if you're like, how do I know if it's from food? It will say vitamin C. It won't say ascorbic acid. If it says vitamin C from, and then it mentions a food, then you know it's good. If it says vitamin C from, and then it mentions a food and ascorbic acid, then you know probably most of that is a synthetic. So not synthetic, but most of that is processed. So you might have a vitamin C deficiency and exacerbating any kind of connective tissue issues. So
I just wanted to finish off with a sparkle so we can move on to something else. When we lived in South Africa, my dentist said to me once, he said, Cecilia, your family is a financial loss to me because we hardly ever had dental work done. And Janique, and I'm going to say something here maybe a little bit, but when she left home and went to university and she stopped using this and her diet changed, according to roommates, she started having a lot of tooth problems.
I had tooth problems because I was severely stressed. And I was living off of the BYU Creamery chocolate milk. So that's why I had dental problems. I also had my first UTI in my entire life when I was at BYU because my stress was through the wazoo. It says, hi, pure peppermint essential oil. You did that with. Dawn here, you always told us not to ingest the oils. So this is actually diluted in coconut oil. So it is diluted, but what do you have to say to that?
Well, that was, look, with this, as I said, you brush your teeth, you spit out. When I was in Cozumel, if you're referring to that, that was a one-off desperate thing that I did. I treated it like a medicine, and it's not like a daily thing.
Let's talk about daily.
You don't drink this. If you gargle, you spit out. When you brush your teeth, you spit out.
No, let's talk about daily ingest. Like someone 2 weeks ago asked, can I ingest essential oils, and what if it's my citrus essential oils? Because a lot of people like to put like lemon essential oil in their water, and I think your response to that was incredible because we don't recommend ingesting essential oils. Like when people come into our store and say, can you ingest this? We say, you can, please don't. Please don't ingest these essential oils because
what I also tell them is if you're going to ingest essential oils, you need to know your essential oils. You need to know which ones you can and which ones you can't. You need to know the chemical constituents, that which are dangerous and which ones you can now and again as a medicine or something, but not on a daily continuous basis. The reason for that, can I go back to for instance...
you can do whatever you want.
All right. With the ingesting of essential oils, there's some colleges in England that as part of the course you have to ingest the essential oils. And that, I don't know which oils they do ingest and which they don't. As I told people a couple of weeks ago, and I'll go over it very quickly, in 1992, the chart for essential oils, the main portion was used in like cleaning agents, pine disinfectant and toilet sprays and things like that. Another large portion was in the pharmaceutical industries, another large portion in the food industries, because there are food grade essential oils, and then another portion, a smaller portion in the perfumery industry, but a very small portion at that time, 4% was used in the essential oil industry. Now, today, that chart it's so outdated, it's completely changed, and people are using it more and more. We ingest more essential oils than we really realize because it's used in the food industry a lot. But a lot of these oils are changed and what they call food grade. And so, just smiling at Tennyson waving behind us. And so you've got to know what you are doing. For instance, I'll just give you a small example. You're not going to use too much black pepper essential oils because overuse of that can damage the kidneys. Too much nutmeg can damage the nervous system. And some of the oils, like people ask me about citrus essential oils. And now and again, if you're going to use it, it is okay. It's just that you don't want to do it all the time because when you eat a citrus fruit, you peel it and you eat the fruit or you juice the fruit. But the essential oil comes from the peel. When you bend the peel over, it squirts out. That's not even the essential oils. When you put a flame to it, it will spark. What sparks is actually the essential oil. And so that skin and fruit and those oils in there is what protects the fruit. It's like a It isn't a pesticide, it's not an insecticide, but it's like that. It protects the fruit. Every plant has that protection mechanism. And so
So it's not like you're taking the entire lemon and you're condensing it to an oil. Like the
Yes.
oil is just a small component. So when people say, I'm putting lemon in my essential oil, lemon essential oil in my water, it's like drinking lemons in water. It's not. It's absolutely not. It's like getting that minute component of the lemon peel. So you're not getting the other components of a whole lemon or like fruit.
yeah, right. And so if you do it now and again, or you, an example I used was if you made a big bowl of punch and you did either lemon punch or you did orange, or you used grapefruit and you put a couple of drops in the big bowl of punch, that will give it some flavor. That is okay, but don't do it all the time and don't do it every day. It has to be processed by your liver. And there are no studies to date that can tell us what the essential oils do to the liver or how it's processed by the liver, because these are highly concentrated plant materials used in an unnatural way. We don't go and take a chamomile plant and the flower and rub it on our skin. The essential oils come through the destruction of the plant. And I'm going to use chamomile as an example. You've got chamomile Roman and chamomile German. Now, chamomile Roman has got no azulene in it, and that's why it's clear. But chamomile German, through the destruction of the plant, depending on how much azulene there is, the bluer it will be. And that is very, very high as an anti-inflammatory. And so the chamomile German that is blue and the chamomile Roman that is white. So the chamomile Roman is child-friendly. Chamomile German, I wouldn't recommend for children because of the azulene, but I do use a little bit in my diaper rash cream, because it is used as a medicine, and it's a very tiny bit, and it does help. But under normal circumstances for children, chamomile Roman is great. And so when it comes to safe oils as well, people ask with pregnancy and babies and things, which oils are safe? If you're pregnant, citrus oils are safe. I don't recommend plant oils because plant oils are abortifacient, meaning it can cause the body to abort. Some oils are stronger than others. Lavender oil is mildly abortifacient, and I definitely don't recommend it in the first trimester. I do not use flower oils during pregnancy because I don't know, and people just don't know what's going on inside them with pregnancy. Every pregnancy is different, even with the same person who's had 6 babies. Every birth, every pregnancy is different. And when babies are born, the first 3 months, I don't recommend essential oils unless you are fighting a disease, an illness or something, it's different. But just to use essential oils, and situations that I've seen and horror stories that have come to me, clients of mine that have experienced this, these aren't just some such stories, but where the doula with the birthing, where they've had a water birthing, has put peppermint essential oil in the water, and when the baby was born and came up through the water, eyes open, got his peppermint essential oils in her eyes, and she cried for hours and hours. Also newborn babies, they take peppermint oil and down the spine, just pure undiluted peppermint oil, because
You should never put
increases
undiluted oils like on
immune
newborns.
system. Yeah,
Like
never.
period. Like, and here's the thing is, you know, we talk a lot about fragrances, right? And fragrances are so unhealthy and all of that. And yes, these are natural fragrances, but they're still, and I don't want to say they're like chemical fragrances, but because they're not, but they still stimulate the body. That's how they work, is through chemistry.
But
And so, yeah,
they literally are chemicals.
but they are chemicals.
They're volatile organic compounds
Yes,
that
they're-
the body has to process.
I don't know if you guys can hear Tristan. So they are chemicals, and so just rubbing them freely on babies and saying, no, because it's natural, it's from nature, that's completely false. It is creating a chemical reaction in a baby where their bodies are not strong enough to even handle it. So funny story, because Tristan's oncologist was like, well, chemotherapy is natural. It's from plants and it's from nature, you know. So in that degree, like, these are highly concentrated to use in times of emergency, like how Cecilia said earlier when she was sick. That's probably like the only time that year you ingested essential oils, right? Like, you know, but this daily ingesting, and I think Dawn mentioned, Dawn Williamson, she said that Scotland now having issues with people drinking the essential oils, lots of issues in the UK, like people drinking it daily. I think just a few weeks ago we had someone call us basically saying, it's like so-and-so is throwing up violently because they ingested, what did they ingest? On Guard. They ingested On Guard and they were throwing up violently. What should I do? You know, like, well, first, don't ingest On Guard, you know, undiluted especially.
It was a client's mother.
And so you guys, so you want to be really, really careful. If you are not getting direction from a trained, certified aromatherapist to ingest essential oils, just don't ingest them. Like, rather be safe than sorry. Like, put them on topical, like, they're meant for topical application when diluted in carrier oils, because they enter your body through your skin, through your dermis, and then they enter your bloodstream and they can do their thing.
And can I just explain something quickly? You know, essential oils contain chemical constituents. So there's that word chemical. You can't get away from it. The chemical constituents, these are the things, the properties that give oils. You can take essential oils and you can divide them and say these are licorice oils, like your basil and your dill and your fennel, and then you have your eucalyptus oils that's got the camphor, your camphor and eucalyptus and cassia pit and all of those. They have their certain smells, and then your flowers, they all have these floral fragrances because of the geraniol, etc. These chemical constituents is what gives the essential oils their power, and they give them their fragrances. Now, when we were talking about chemical constituents, and I want to get back to babies, because it is one thing that is really concerning me, is the amount of essential oils being used on babies. 64% of babies, roughly, give or take a percentage or two, but the last count that I looked into was 64% of babies are born jaundiced. And the reason they're born jaundiced is our bodies, for our entire life, will recycle our red blood cells when they are mature, your erythrocytes, and they will then break them up between the spleen and the liver. They break them up and they recycle. And so with babies, their liver is not mature enough to recycle their own red blood cells. And that's why they become jaundiced. So my question is, if their liver is not mature enough to recycle their own red blood cells, how on earth are they going to recycle these pure, undiluted essential oils?
Right.
It's dangerous. You never put essential oils into your eyes, up your nose, into your ears, or any other orifices, unless you directed how to dilute and how to use. But again, I come from a background in South Africa. I was on committees and we wrote the laws for essential oils to be used in South Africa. And there's a big distinction between aromatherapists and therapeutic aromatherapists. Aromatherapists are illegal in South Africa, and therapeutic aromatherapists can only work, they can either have their own clinics or they can work with other registered professions like a chiropractor, with doctors and clinics in hospitals, etc. They cannot work with beauticians and hairdressers, people that are not registered. It's very, very regulated. And I come from that strict background where we had to put on the bottle of external use only. We were not allowed to tell people to take it internally because that was seen as prescribing. We couldn't even on a piece of paper write vitamin A, take iodine. That was seen as prescribing. And so thank heavens for my strict regulation background that I come from. I still practice it here because when people say, can I take it internally? I say, that's up to you. I can't tell you because that is prescribing. If you want to take it, all I can say is know your essential oils, know the chemical constituents, and know what harm they can cause if you overdose or overdo. I have seen many skin problems that people have caused from using essential oils continuously undiluted, putting it on and licking it, or now if you're putting it in a capsule and you're swallowing it, what do you know what's going on in your stomach? Studies have not been done. Nothing has come to the front yet, but I think in years to come it will. And these oils are not to be used just nilly-willy. You must remember the difference between me and other people. I have people that come to the clinic all the time and say to me, what is the difference between your oils and multi-level marketing oils? And I say to you, the difference is I'm a retailer. I cannot speak for other people. I do not speak for what other people do. But I'm not here to sell you essential oils, to lick them, to capsulate them, to put them, to drink them, to smell them, to sniff them, to apply them, to whatever. Because the more you use, the more you sell. When people come into the clinic, I never sell them essential oils. They come and ask me for essential oils. They come and ask, do you have this oil? Do you have that oil? Blah, blah. But I'm not there to sell it to make a profit. I'm there because of my therapeutic background and my training as a therapist a practitioner of complementary and alternative medicine. I'm there to use them in their clinical way that they should be. And so they need to be treated with knowledge and respect.
Someone asked, what oils should you start out with that you recommend? So actually on Honestly Essential, there's the silver, the gold, and the bronze starter kits. And I think we put explanations there as to what? It's just silver and gold?
Silver and gold.
Oh, there's the silver and gold kits. Sorry. One's smaller, one's larger. And you can actually get a really big discount. What are in those kits again? Because I remember there's tea tree, lavender, eucalyptus,
all the
peppermint.
sort of normal common ones, yes.
The very common basics, but still extremely potent. I think there's very cinnamon and clove. I think we already said that. But I would say those are really good ones what would you say are really good ones to start with? We'll talk about that. There's another question about diffusing essential oils. Is it safe?
Yes.
It is very safe, actually. So your dog is going to be fine.
Yes, and babies and pregnant women will be safe with diffusing essential oils.
Yeah.
The one question that somebody asked early on that I would like to address, because it's such an important question, is why is it that they're using essential oils but they're not getting the effect out of it? So let me start off by explaining very briefly. Where we lived in South Africa, it was a harbour city. And so the cockroaches that came in with the ships and from the harbour were unbelievable. They flew. They were these huge things that would fly into windows. And the pest control company told me that every 6 months they have to change their formula because the cockroaches got so used to it that they would start eating it as a food source. The same thing with essential oils. If you use the same essential oil over and over and over again, it's going to lose its efficacy. For instance, lavender. Some people will come and say, lavender used to work for me and I would sleep, but now it's not working anymore. So when you use essential oils, and if you use synergistically, if you use them like one essential oil is like a string, and 2 or 3, 4, maximum 5 oils, it becomes a rope. It's a lot stronger. you need to switch some essential oils out after 6 weeks. 4 to 6 weeks, you need to switch out. For instance, if you have a formula and you're using a citrus oil, a wood oil, and a flower oil, take one flower oil out and put another flower oil in. Take a citrus oil out, put another citrus oil in after a few weeks. Take a wood oil out. And so every 4 to 6 weeks, you need to switch them out. Otherwise, your body becomes too used to them.
Okay, did we answer the question about which oils to use? Like your starter pack kind? We did. Okay, sorry. I was grabbing water and stuff. Okay, so Amanda here said, let's see. What should she do for digestion? What oils do you use for digestion? Since I've been here in Argentina, I haven't been eating too well. It's impossible and have been experiencing some fun digestive problems because of it. Also, I'd love to know which ones you travel with.
All right. Basically, for the digestive system, peppermint is an excellent oil.
Fennel
and
too,
all
right?
of these, I'm talking about applying them to the digestive system. So I'm just going to very quickly mention a few. There's peppermint, lemon, grapefruit, fennel, those oils, and cypress and cedarwood as well, because cypress and cedarwood move things through, especially with constipation and that kind of stuff. It moves us through. Juniper as well is cleansing and moves it through. But your citrus oils are excellent for the digestive system. And then, of course, your peppermint and fennel and even basil and oregano as well. Oregano is excellent if you've got a bacterial problem, you've got a fungal problem, if your digestive problem is due to that. For parasites, clove and cinnamon is excellent. Clove actually also kills the eggs. So both, but cinnamon is a highly skin irritant, so you have to dilute these oils well. And you can take a blob of lotion or a teaspoon of oil, and you can put 3 to 4, maximum 5 drops, and then you can just apply it to the abdominal area.
Let's quickly go over, because it's wintertime, one of my favorite things to diffuse in the air
to travel. She asked travel.
Oh, and to travel with.
Let
Yeah,
me
oils
just
that you
tell
want to travel
very
with.
quickly. There are 2 oils, because I don't want to take a big kit of oil. And nowadays, with your limited, if you're flying, your limited liquid intake, I just take 2 oils, and that's lavender and tea tree. And the lavender I use for scrapes and cuts and insect bites and things like that. And the tea tree I use for disinfecting. If I get sick,
She would always disinfect like the toilets and stuff that we stayed at hotels.
And if I get sick, only if I get sick, when I'm sick, I will drink a few drops of tea tree oil. And if I had a serious bite or sting, I would put the tea tree oil on as well to prevent an infection.
Yes. I forgot what the other question was. Oh, you guys, things like, because it's wintertime, really quick, I'll give you some of my favorite things to do. I love to diffuse the Autumn Day, which has clove and cinnamon in, because it helps to disinfect your air, going back to like diffusing things. Things for people with respiratory issues, and maybe you can touch on this too. Eucalyptus is really good. What else for?
All right. So thyme and sage is excellent for throat infections. Just be careful with thyme because of the thuja. I don't use thyme on children that haven't reached puberty yet. So watch out for your oils there. But tea tree, eucalyptus, cassia pit. Cassia pit is a much stronger oil. It's like what I call one of my medicine oils. But for respiratory and nioli, not neroli. Don't get mixed up with neroli, which is flower, the orange blossom, and nioli, which is from the nioli tree. It's very much tea tree. And to apply to the sinuses and here and maxillary, be careful of the eyes. You don't want to get it in the eyes.
Diluted, right?
Absolutely, yes, diluted. And then for the throat, and thyme and sage is excellent for the throat, and eucalyptus and tea tree, cassia pit, camphor very good for the chest as well.
Very cool. Any other questions, you guys? Let's see if I missed anything.
Mine?
Yes, what was your question?
It's not actually my question. It's from the private group.
Oh,
Someone's saying that everyone around them seems to get really great results from essential oils, but they never
seem
see
to?
improvement from it. What's going on there? What can they
I
do?
covered that.
Did you already go
Yeah.
on?
oh, you did?
When I
Okay.
said to exchange it out.
Oh, to change it out. Okay, so to
Yeah.
switch it up.
Make certain that your oils that you're getting is from a reputable source. If it's from us, it is. But also change it. Don't use the same oils over and over and over. And then also know how to mix. You never use more than 1 drop of essential oil per 1 milliliter of carrier oil and carrier oil. Essential oils disperse in water. It doesn't dissolve, but it does dissolve in fat and oil and alcohol and ether, but you don't want to use alcohol and ether on your skin. But so fat or oil, so if you have a lotion that is oil-based, so your guideline is 1 drop maximum, 1 drop per milliliter. So no more than 5 drops per teaspoon, and you can do anything from 3 to 4, maximum 5 drops per teaspoon. And apply that. Always apply essential oils to the area you want to treat. So if you want to treat a sore throat, don't just put it on your feet. It's too far away from the body, even though that's the point of blood to return to the to the heart. You want to apply it to the area you want to treat. So if you have a headache, apply it to the head and the temples, under your nose and the back of your neck. If you've got sinus problems, frontal, under the nose, maxillary. If you have a sore throat, apply it to the throat and the chest. Always remember the back to get to your lungs fill up on the back as well. We had a client a few years ago. We had essential, one of my mixtures, my respiratory support, and applied it. He had pneumonia, very bad infection. Applied it to the chest and where he could reach and when he went back for his x-rays, it was clearly marked that where he couldn't reach, there was still infection there.
That's funny. That's really cute. That's funny.
I just told who it was.
Which client?
But anyway, and so, yes, always apply it. So if you have if you have stomach problems, abdominal areas, apply it there. If you have pelvic areas, ovarian or uterus, apply it to the pelvic area. Muscles, apply it there. You can always still apply it to the feet. It's always a good thing because that will get through the body. But always go for the areas, but never into cavities.
One last thing, because a lot of people, when they go to our website, they're like, your oils are so cheap. Like, how can they be good? First, I want to talk about, I just want to touch on this and then you can fill in the gaps, is you guys, we know people's margins because this is our industry. Well, Cecilia's industry. Like, we know the margins. And here's the beauty is it goes from suppliers to us to you. It doesn't go from suppliers to a company to a storefront, or from the supplier to a company to a salesperson to a storefront to you. So there's no middleman. And so that's why we can get it at the prices that we can. Also, there's no downline that we're paying for. Now, I do want to touch a little bit about the cultural turmoil in the industry because I think it's important. One, I think MLM companies are fantastic because they give stay-at-home moms the ability to create a potentially lucrative income. So I'm all about female empowerment, like always. And I love that so many stay-at-home moms can bring an extra income to spoil their children with and help their husbands and to help provide and to feel some sense of empowerment and less like that they have to depend on someone else for money.
And even men sell it too.
And even men sell it too. I'm going to talk about my issue is this almost like mud throwing that is happening in the industry right now. Is we're the best and everyone else is the worst. you guys, we're probably getting our oils all from the same source. Let's be honest. Unless you are growing your own farms like Young Living does with some of their essential oils. Now, they do have to source some of their essential oils from other places too. I don't think all of the farms that they source from are completely owned by them. However, that's besides the point. I think because one of the comments here was they went to, and I'm not going to mention which company, but they went to a convention and all of the people were saying that they convinced me their oils are the only ones that anyone should ever use because they're the purest ever. You guys, like, you look at a certificate of analysis and you see its purity or not. So you can go to hundreds of companies, look at COAs and see the purity. And so this mud throwing that's happening in the industry, I hope it stops because it's not very classy. And so I think we should all recognize that there's enough money to go around and there's enough people and there's enough consumers. And so I hope that does end because I'm not here to diss MLM companies. I don't like it when they do walk into our storefront and start dissing us. I think that, again, that's very classless. And so I do hope that we can start creating I'm just looking if there's other questions.
To say that their oil is the only oil that is good and that works. It's like Ford saying Ford car is the only
car that works.
That works. The only thing Ford ever said, Mr. Ford, was that it can be any color you like as long as it's black.
Yeah.
But he never ever said it's the only car that works.
So they all work and they all have certificates of analysis, hopefully. And they just have different types of terpene profiles. So depending on where they grow, depending on the soil and the nutrients and the minerals, those terpene profiles are going to be slightly different. It doesn't make them superior in any way, shape, or form. It's just different. And so when someone says theirs is the only one and it's the industry best, I know that's inaccurate, and I hope that language can start changing because
There's space for everybody.
Because there's space for everyone. Like, there's a lot of companies I respect out there. I think one of them is, I can't even remember the name, but there's Butterfly Express, there's Rocky Mountain, what's theirs? Rocky Mountain, like, they're fantastic companies, and I will never ever come on here and be like, ours is better than theirs. I think ours is as good as theirs are, so if you are true to them, you utilize them, you know what I mean? But you don't have to throw other people under the bus to make a sale. And so I just really hope, that we can have this expansive mentality and we can include everyone and stop having this scarcity of only us, only me, only you can come here because we're the best. Like, nature is actually the best. Nature grows things very well, and we all source from her. The only issues that happen is once they source, what happens from then on out? How does the processing get changed? How does the processing get altered? What are they adding as soon as they've extracted it? And so that's why when Cecilia said in the beginning, it goes through these certifications to ensure purity and to ensure that there hasn't been any mishandling. That's what we look for our oils. Sorry.
And then if I can just mention, the same strictness and purity and searching that I do with the essential oils, I also do with the carrier oils. Our carrier oils are hexane free, which means that there's no chemicals used in extracting the oils. Our oils are extra virgin, organic. I only look for the best carrier oils I can find. So a carrier oil is basically that carries the essential oil, and they come from fruit and nuts and flowers, and for instance evening primrose and almond and apricot kernel and black cumin and hemp seed, and so they come as sesame seed, flax seed, sunflower seed. So they come from nuts, walnuts. Now they don't have
a fragrance like essential oil has a fragrance. And in my book, I have a section that covers the difference between carrier oils and essential oils, and then the difference between carrier oils and mineral oils. Never use mineral oils. Do not use mineral oils. An example of a mineral oil is baby oil. Many, many years ago, they were just mineral oils as a baby oil. And so when you are using your carrier oils, and one day we'll do a Q&A on carrier oils, but they have a lot of good uses as well. They have therapeutic uses as well, like your calendula, your grape seed, and almond oil. Almond oil I love for babies, and I use the first 3 months of babies, I use almond oil. And so we'll do a Q&A when you're ready on carrier oils.
So a few really quick, any specific oils that help with hormone balancing?
Fennel is good. Fennel and geranium, both of those are good. Lavender is very balancing as well.
Okay. We kind of spoke about any specific.
Thyme also on the thyroid for hormonal imbalances.
So someone said, how does that? I think the oil changing thing. How does that work for brushing teeth? Use different blends. So with the different sparkles, you can use different types of sparkle, so use one bottle and then switch up and go to peppermint.
It's really the peppermint, the spearmint, and the cinnamon is really just for taste preference for people.
Sorry, I'm behind on these questions, you guys. Thoughts on Young Living, we've kind of covered that. That's the main brand I have heard of. How do you know if an oil is high quality? Is there
your supplier?
So is there a certificate of analysis? And here's the thing, and that I really want to express, because someone said this to us the other day when they were getting our oils. They said, my mom's there's like two lives at the same time. So someone said that my mom's blends are the only ones that have ever worked for her and never given her headaches, whereas she's tried other companies like DoTERRA and Young Living that she was always triggered with a headache or a migraine by. And then there's other people that say, well, only doTERRA works for me. And that's the thing, is we're all utilizing chemicals very differently. And now all we need to see is, how does your chemistry interact with those chemicals? How does your chemistry interact with those blends?
It's nature's chemicals.
Because it's nature's chemicals. And so what works for some people is not going to work for other people. And so that's why I say there's enough to go around. So, trust, I don't want to say trust your supplier. Ask a lot of questions. And if you do know how to read COAs, you're welcome to request them. I have a funny story about that I'll tell you guys another time. Or if you want to hear about certificates of analyses, I can send you a YouTube video. Careful. But anyways, so again, just kind of go with your gut, I guess, after all your researching. Here's the thing is, if you want to get into a business, then probably an MLM is for you. If you want to get into it, if you want to eat, breathe, and sleep essential oils and sell them and support your family, we have 1 minute and 56 seconds remaining. Then gravitate towards an MLM. If you just want to buy essential oils to use and you want them affordable, then utilize a company like ours or Rocky Mountain or Butterfly Express, and try different oils from different companies and see what works, you guys. There's no reason why you need to buy an $80 lavender from doTERRA and then put it on your dryer balls to put in your dryer, when you could buy our $7 lavender or whatever I said, put it on your dryer balls and put it in your dryer and have your clothes smell like it. So there's no reason why you need to burn money literally in your dryer. When you can,
in a diffuser.
Or in a diffuser or something like that. When they, so play around. Don't buy from Walmart. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't buy from, because no, Walmart's brand, the ones carried there, have actually been caught to have synthetics in them. So that's why I say, don't buy from Walmart. Don't buy from like these big companies that are extremely
Amazon,
inexpensive.
don't buy.
Amazon, don't buy from Amazon. We have like 46 seconds left. Sorry, yes.
We do affiliates.
Huh?
We can do affiliates.
We can do affiliates, I guess. I didn't know that. So if you guys wanted to be an affiliate, contact Tristan or me, and then I'll put you in contact with Tristan. So if you just want to contact him, you're welcome to. But if you want to be an affiliate with Honestly Essential, if you want to promote it and get a kickback, contact us and let us know. And I didn't know we did that. There you go.
Maui's been doing it for a
So
while.
yeah, we've had one person. We've had Maui. So she's kind of been our guinea pig. So hi Maui if you're here. Anyways, thanks guys. This was fun. Post more questions if you have them. We can keep doing these like monthly or something. And we'll do a anyways, we gotta go. Bye.
Bye.
Yes, did we answer all of your questions, Amanda? Let's see. Thanks. Also I mentioned how wonderful this is funny. I mentioned how wonderful your company is, and they kept questioning it and doubting the purity of your oils. It was so annoying and rude. Just LMs, man. So toxic sometimes. Like, there's no abundance mentality, unfortunately. Thanks, you guys, for watching.